Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, wherever you are joining. Let me also welcome all of you to this important symposium on longevity and health, living longer and living better. As you know, the world is passing through a rapid aging transition, and India is no exception to that. And uh, with the increasing number of elderly, India will have around 320 million elderly or 60 plus or senior citizens, what we call in India, by 2050. And it is going to be a big challenge for the governments, families, and societies to take care of them, take care of their health, their living arrangements, economic conditions, social participation, mental health, and many other issues. So I think this webinar brings a very important issue of different aspects of health, well-being, and many other aspects of aging in the context of, particularly in the context of in Indian context. And of course, we also have a large number of international specialists and experts joining and presenting their papers, both as plenary speakers, chairpersons, and paper presenters. So I am very happy to chair this first plenary session, which is titled as Aging, Health and Wellbeing. We have 5 speakers scheduled here, and as per the instruction from the organizers, uh, uh, we each of the speaker will get around 20 minutes time for their presentation, and at the end of all the presentations, we'll have a discussion and question answer session. So let me invite the first speaker, Professor K.R. Gangadharan, who is a well-known person in the field of aging, who was the president of the International Federation of Aging, and he will be talking about graceful aging. Dr. Bansod, is there a formal introduction to his
Yeah,
speech?
I'll give, sir.
Yeah, please do that.
Yeah, before starting the presentation, I'll give some formal introduction of Professor Gangadharan. Professor K.R. Gangadharan, an honorary professor and gerontologist, is a pioneer in geriatric care in India. His work has been pivotal in advancing care for the elderly, particularly in dementia care, and he remains a strong advocate for better healthcare for older adults. So, plus he's a chairperson of the Heritage Foundation India. So thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to be a panel or the guest speaker for this panel. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay, let me invite Dr. K.R. Gangadharan, who has played an important role as the chairperson of the Heritage Group of Hospitals and Healthcare, as well as an important person in the policy making, aging policy making in India in various committees of the national government and as well as also state government. Over to Dr. Gangadharan.
Good morning to all of you. Thank you so much, Dr. Dhananjay, for inviting me to be part of this. And nice to have Dr. T.V. Shekhar sharing the session. And nice to see our good friend, Dr. Vinod Kumar, just joining us. And Dr. Satyanarayana being from Bangkok, from NFPA, good friends. And I'm sure many others are very nice to have you. And I'm talking about a very important subjects, but I'm not talking about a lot of research on this. And I'm going to be talking primarily on, basics, that more of the practice. Though most of the data that I've given in terms of principles I gave, they're all research-based. But I'm not a researcher, therefore I won't be giving you any references to this. Now we are talking about graceful aging. You're talking about the graceful aging. I just want to probably recall a couple of nice things that would be very useful. And, we often think graceful aging is looking nice and looking handsome or looking beautiful. Something much more than that is graceful aging. And yes, looking nice is very important. And there are wonderful people in this country, particularly in India, and I'm sure all over the world. I've met a lot of people. When you talk to them, you want to talk to them once again. You meet them, you want to meet them once again. And they talk, you want to listen to them once again. So very impressive people. And, they grab your attention, and they're also very nice to you all the time. I think this is what, overall I'm going to emphasize on. And I also work with, when you're talking about graceful aging, I would like to definitely go to, give an example of a 90 plus year old person who's a, living legend in the country. All of you know Apollo Hospital, Chennai. I happened to work with Dr. Pratap Reddy for many, many years. And that was in 83 when the hospital was started. When you meet him, you want to talk to him. You want to meet him again. And when he's there, I can tell you, he radiates lot of inspiration and motivation. I think this is what I'm referring to. What makes them so inspiring is that personality, the knowledge they carry with them, the dynamism they exhibit, and the ability to influence, people around them. I think it's a combination of everything. And I think this is what I'm trying to talk about it. So I just took a, by definition. When I started, being active in aging, there are people like Dr. Vinod Kumar who are already, doyens in the field of aging. And people like me who got in it probably 30 years ago. Aging was not something very well discussed, nor it gained a lot of attention. It's primarily because it's a transition from an active age to, sort of taking a backseat. Not many people are prepared for it. I'm sure in our own families, we'll see a lot of old people not able to take a change role. I think there are a lot of people who also take the changing role so beautifully because they planned for it. I think this is what I'm trying to, present in the whole process. And Prabhakar, next one. Okay. Let's look at, graceful aging. We just look at few important points. I remember a gentleman in 1990, 94 when I started Heritage. The gentleman was 91 years. He happened to work with, those days with Hitler, when Hitler was alive and he was alive. And, when he came, he was 91 years. Of those days, 90 years was not something common. And I remember all our nurses and everybody, crowded around him and was talking to him a lot of times. And in one of those media conferences, he was asked, what is the success behind his 90 years of, solid existence? And I know people like Dr. Vinod Kumar will be surprised to hear this. What he said 4 points he mentioned about successful aging. He's one of those wonderful, graceful person. You can see him across a lot of newspapers. He was written, so he's no more. He said, as a person at 90s, I don't mix with old people. I am not part of the old people. I would like to be in the midst of younger people. That's the first thing that he said. The second thing he said, younger girls, not younger men. I prefer to be in the midst of younger girls. The third thing he said is, when I fall sick, I go and meet the doctor, take their prescription, but do exactly opposite to what they instructed me. And the fourth point he said was, there is nothing called lunch and tea. He says he was used to taking every 2-hourly or 3-hourly small, eating that kept him absolutely active at the age of 90. Let me tell you, at 99, he was going to all set for his 100th birthday. He met with a road accident and he died while walking. I think that's a story of a person who's gracefully aging. We looked at what is the reason this gentleman was wanting to be in the midst of the girl. Media asked him, this girl, Mr. Naidu, why he was wanted to be in the midst of girls. Let me tell you, a group of us, including our family, went and met him in his house. We were surprised to find this gentleman at the age of 90 was using his pension to get 12 girls from 12 districts of Andhra Pradesh those days. He will keep them in his house, pay for the college school fees, get them dresses, celebrate all the festivals, even look after them completely. He spent all his money on those 12 people every year. And he said, what do you get in return? He says, since my food habit is only 2 hours, I eat very little. These girls help me eat whatever they're making for me. I think that is how, let me tell you, this is one of those wonderful things that I've seen. I told you about Dr. Pratap Reddy. Even today, if you want to meet him, if you meet him at the age of 91, you would want to meet him back. If Mr. Naidu was alive, I would like him to be in our facility because he was such a wonderful person. He was, radiating so much of affection and love. Now look at the next one. Can you? No, it's not playing. Okay, these are all the nice, yeah. Can you make it a slideshow? No. Now let me tell you, all these 4 pictures, all these videos are part of our programs in the last 30 years of time, except the one which I took when I was in Beijing, the third picture. Understand, all these people, one was girls performing for the old people, that's the nurses, and the second and third, bottom, they're all, old people who are over 60 years. One or two may be a little younger than that, but most of them are 60s and 70s. Let me tell you, when they perform this kind of a music for 30, 40 minutes of time, it is unbelievable to believe that they, at this age, they can be so dynamic. Now, in particularly South India, North Indians, particularly Punjabis are all used to a lot of dances. But in South India, dances is only limited to Carnatic music or Bharatanatyam. But here you find a lot of people at the age of 70s and 80s wanting to dance and perform. And when they perform it, that's where you see the grace. How they dance, how they perform is what you really see. So activities make all the difference and making them healthy. Can you go to the next one? Yeah, I wish it was in a slide mode. Slideshow would have been wonderful. Go to the next one, Prabhakar. Now, I think one of the biggest impressions I still remember when I started Heritage in 94, a lot of people said, why do you want to work with old people? They're all cynical people. They're all sulking people. They're always negative. They don't talk anything positive. They only talk about the misery. They only talk about negativity. They're only criticizing everything. This is very, very true those days. I think it is changing now. I'm not saying it's disappeared, but it is changing. But repeated, if you really look at the reason behind all this is their experiences, not always positive. I think today I remember, when we listen to some of those, spiritual leaders, they tell you, don't read newspapers in the morning because you see only negative messages. So read the newspapers in the evening, look for positive message in the morning. I think this is what the whole important thing is about. These people have experienced good and bad. Good things are not, recalled so much as bad things. I think this is something that we need to bear in mind. They behave like this, and that's the impression that we carry. But a lot of people who carry very positive impression. Can you go to the next one? So I'm just talking about aging gracefully, just doesn't mean appearance. There are people at the age of 80s and 90s. They are in so many programs. They participate, they actively indulge themselves, they prepare themselves, remain active. I think we are talking about both active aging and healthy aging. I think that makes all the difference in the quality of life that you have lived. Now, let me tell you, in Bombay, I have one of very, not exactly relative of mine, who's 93, 90, 90, 91. Even today, she performs Carnatic music at Bombay Shanmugananda Hall. Every month, she's, sings for 1 year, 1 month, sorry, 1 hour. I think what makes some difference is when these people, do these kind of programs, it makes them extremely graceful. You find them calm. I think one of the biggest qualities that you see in the graceful people, how they appear. Because I always say, no, appearances are deceptive. In this case, when you are calm, that means you have a lot of positive experiences. And all of us have negative experiences also. The question is, what do you want to appreciate more? You want to appreciate the negative ones or a positive one? I think these are all the studies. I think a lot of international studies have proved some of those points that I'm mentioning. I'm only giving you practical examples so that we are able to remain relevant. Now, all these people they also know how to manage the negativity. The negativity comes in. A lot of family members. Misery of due to arising of the family member. Children give some trouble sometimes. The case of some children, people probably get into drinking habits or drugs and things like that. They pose a lot of challenges to the family. The person is how the whole person is able to take that kind of a strain. I think that's where the wisdom comes. We talk about the wisdom. The wisdom comes with that kind of experience. Can we go to the next one? Yeah. Positive self-image. Now, this is, I'm sorry, the video is little, it's shown on the backside because of self-image. Now, this is a typical age that we talk about what is called, we bring together people with 50 years of marriage, what is called golden couples. And this program was, all over the world, they presented it, whether it is BBC or CNN and others, they posted. Because here in this particular program, we brought together about 30 to 40 people married for 50 years. Let me tell you, these programs were sponsored by, ITC hotels or Taj hotels because they wanted a lot of publicity out of this. But we were very keen on reaching out to them because in these programs, when 30, 40 couples came together, with them, every family, there were at least 10 to 12 people joining. So which means we had about 1,000, 1,200 people witnessing these programs. So it brought in a lot of grace, a tremendous amount of grace in the couples, who are married for 50 years of time. When they share their experiences, let me tell you, they don't share the negative experiences, they share the positive experiences, sandwiching the negative experiences, more of positive than negative. I think as we grow older, we have to not look at negative things. We have to see what life is in store for us, and that's a possibility that gives you the grace. Next one. See these events. I think when you're bringing people together, the happiness comes in, the happiness quotient increases. And these events take a lot of efforts to bring in. For example, you see at the bottom of the picture, there are about practically 2,000 people in this particular event. Majority of them consisted of 3 couples, 3 groups, grandparents, parents, and grandchildren. And I can tell you that full day was nothing but happiness. I think we have to promote happiness among the people so they age gracefully. Can you go to the next one? Important aspects of life. I think, as I told you, the assumption that old people are negative has to be changed by the old people. We can't be looking at negative things. We can't talk politics and get away with it. We can't talk about all bad things and get away with it. I think we need to become positive to remind, find happiness in what we have seen. So what they're telling, one of the ideal ways to do is to stay focused on what you are doing. Stay focused on what you are doing so that you are not looking at the negative things. Can you go to the next one? Enjoy good food. I'm sure Dr. Kohar is there. He knows what exactly the good food is all about. I'm sure I hope he's in a position to talk to you something about it. Good food, I always feel, I've seen a lot of people at the age of, 80, 85, diabetic. There is a party, they want good sweets. He said, don't tell my wife I'm taking a sweet. Don't tell my husband I'm taking a sweet. They enjoy it. I think that's a typical, nice behavior of the people to be a little delinquent now and then at that age. But enjoy good food by bearing in mind the negative aspects. Next one. Lifelong learning. I think learning continuously makes you relevant. You remain relevant to the society. You remain, you continue to interact with people. So you bring in a lot of positivity. I think graceful aging is a lot to do with the positivity. Can you go to the next one? Rest, well rest. I think one of the important aspects of, looking good in life is also feeling good. I think we always talk when women stand in front of the mirrors to dress up themselves. I can tell you, same thing in the case of old people also, whether male or female, nothing wrong in dressing up. I told you about Mr. Naidu. We asked him, what is the motivation? He says, when I go for a meeting, I want to meet women. I want to be with a tie. At the age of 90, 91, he will go with a suit. He will go with a tie. He says, I enjoy, being well dressed. I also feel respected. I also feel wanted. I also believe that I belong to that. I think this is something very important for people to look at dress. I'm not telling you dressing up is graceful alone. Dressing up is one of the aspects. Can you go to the next one? Spirituality. I don't think I really need to talk about it. I think if I'm in Chennai, I can tell you December and January, I don't do anything other than listening to Carnatic music and ballets. One month, you don't concentrate on anything because all those songs and music and dance that we listen to gives us a lot of happiness. I think that makes us good human beings. That's something that I want to remember. All of us remember spirituality is one of the important things. I'm not getting into the details of spirituality for want of time, except to say spirituality makes you graceful. Next one. Walking. I think the simplest thing that one can do, you don't have to go to the gym, do some walking. Yesterday, I was remembering, I saw a gentleman in front of me. He was around 82. He was able to put his bend down. He could put his, hands on the toe easily. I can go back and come back because he does it every day, 10 times in the evening, 10 times in the morning. Basic, and he walks around. I think walking is an ideal thing that makes you happy because you also get friendship. If you are interested in fellowship, you definitely get. I don't want to talk about the Walkers Club and Lofters Club. They're all existing in the country, but I'm talking about the basic exercise makes you really feel good. Next one. See this. Grandparents have a cherished heritage. Please understand, if you are having opportunity to be in the midst of the grandchildren, I think they make you all happy, absolutely happy. You forget anger, you forget anything negative if they are in front of you, whatever the age of the grandchild is. The grandchild may be a just born toddler, or can be 20-year-old boy or a girl. It gives you a lot of happiness. So being in the midst of grandchildren and learning from them is very important as you want to pass on some wisdom to them. Next. Old boys have jolly good fun. Cricket. We organize these events for 80 plus, 70 plus. We have, what is called tennis matches, cricket matches. We have a lot of people participating in this for age group. That's making them very good. And next one is, down memory lane is what is called Valentine's for senior citizens. So here you find an old person and sitting with his wife. It's a Valentine's Day celebrations on what is called Hussain Sagar Lake. It took them for a 3-hour drive with a lunch and dinner served, and they were all playing and enjoying themselves. I think that is something makes them good, feeling part of the society. Next one. Wise counsel from the old. I think here is a gentleman who's teaching painting. He's a painter. He's a well-known painter in Hyderabad, and he used to take classes. People used to go to his, studio and learn. He was all happy to teach. That makes him wanted in the society. Next. Prabhakar, how many more? Yeah. Next. Make healthy life choices. I don't think I need to really talk about it. Healthy life choices are good habits, being composed, being nice, eating decent food, having, timely, whatever actions that you're doing. Don't give up your physical exercises. Go on to the next one. Yoga. I think is another important thing I really don't have to emphasize because the whole country is talking about yoga and it's becoming a big event in the United Nations. I don't really talk about it. That makes the body very, very flexible. I'm sure there are a lot of people who never used to live beyond 60 those days, but people are comfortably living 80. 80 of today are 60 of yesterday. I think that's the kind of a health that you're living. You're able to see it. Next one. Facial expressions. I mentioned the facial expressions because that talks a lot about your grace. How pleasant you are, how contactable you are, how lovely you are able to contact the person. What kind of facial expression should you give? Talks a lot about your grace. Next one. These are all the programs we have conducted, we have organized, we have been part of that. You can see it ranges from the rich place to the poor people, and you see a lot of old people who are enjoying themselves. Let me tell you, the old age homes, some of these old age homes in this country are fabulously run. It's a treat to go and see how they run it. We think old age homes are destitute homes. I'm talking about the poor old age home. I can give you any number of examples to say how old people in those, some of the old age homes gracefully age, enjoying themselves and every activity, whether be it a festival, be it an event, they all do it. And these are all the things that I've just given a picture. Next one. Challenges to graceful aging, modern society changing. It's a truth. If you're not able to keep pace with your computer, high technology, and then chat GP and all that's taking place, you are going to be outdated. I think I'm finding, let me tell you, I have 2 grandchildren at home. One is 12, one is 9. And they teach me a lot of things. I learn from them. I sit with them and learn. You don't have to learn necessarily from adult children. The grandchildren can teach you because they're smarter. They teach you a lot of things. I think we need to keep paceful with this. Thinking young people are not going to accept it is not a way of doing it. But I'll go with the old people, younger people, and let me be part of that. Next one. Retirement. This is, those days it's considered a sad thing to retire. But I think these days you have enough to do. I think there are no aircrafts available. There are no seats available in aircrafts. There are no seats available in trains. You want to go to Zurich, passport, your visas are denied. You want to go to some countries, visas are denied because overcrowded. People are able to spend a lot of money, a lot of efforts to do that. So retirement is not anymore a negativity that it used to exist. I think people are willing to retire and look forward to a life that is wonderful post-retirement. The next one. I hope it gets over very soon. Prevention makes it all easy. I don't want to mention all these points. It's going to be part of the presentation. I'm sure I will share it I've already shared it with Dhananjaya, so he can probably circulate it to all of you. I like to leave this. Prevention makes it all easy. Next one. I think I just want to close it by telling 3 points. One, aging gracefully is about embracing the journey of growing older and finding ways to fulfilling lives. I think it's very important. Don't look what you can't do. What is available in front of you, use it. I think that's something that you are taught from the childhood, all the more negative. When you start getting old, you start thinking that I'm not relevant. Don't ever feel that way. Aging gracefully is about having a positive attitude, which I don't have to really mention more than what I have already said. It's a journey that requires patience. Please understand there are times your challenges. Sometimes old people are being abused. I'm not talking about negative aspects of aging because there are times when old people are being abused and old people get abused also. Both the ways it happens. They go and comment and get abused. Without getting comment, they will get abused. I think it's something that one has to know how to cope with that. I think that's very important coping mechanism that you learn. And age is just a number. I think this is something that we always hear all the time. I just want to remember it's not the number that matters. Whether I'm right or wrong, at the age of 70, 75, 80, it's a number. But I don't have to feel 70 if I remain active. Thanks a lot for listening to me. And I'm sorry if I've taken a little longer. I hope I stuck to the time. In case I'm longer, it's fine. Prabhakar, if it's place, it's fine. It'll be beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks once again for your organizing. Thanks for sharing the session, Tevi Shekhar. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Gangadharan, for highlighting the various dimensions about graceful aging and very good things about the elderly and retirement, which many of us will never realize. Always retirement looks something like a negative, and you are saying age is just a number. After listening to your interesting talk, I was reminded by a well-known quote by well-known author Mark Twain, who said long back, aging is only a matter of mind. If you don't mind, it won't matter. Okay.